The place is here and the time is now. Let's take it round for round. And people gather round. Let's see who can win the crown. All the marbles involved. Football, baseball, or golf. Who's dominating the hoops? Who's talking false or the truth? Yeah, come and show me your war face. I'll show you my war face. No holds barred, so for your sake, you better show up in good shape. Valuable information is key to your domination. So focus on preparation. Online is your reputation. Yeah, it's one-on-one. You and me, ain't no fear in me. You will see. When it comes to this, you'll be wearing the number 23. In debate, I hold my weight, cause these sports I'm attached to it. Your legacy, get ready, cause I'm gonna set a match to it. Hey, burn 'em. Fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 legacy on fire. Fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 legacy on fire. Fire, 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 burn. Fire, 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 legacy on fire.
This week's panel, Jay Quimby, Russ Taliaferro, Victor Herrera, and Joe Dillard Jr. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for another episode of Legacy on Fire. This is episode 33. We got a lot to get into today. We got a fun one to get into today. Panel's a little bit different than normal. We've had kind of the same crew for the last couple of months here and there, but we got two guys who haven't been on in a while. It's good to have them back in the building. But before we get to them, let's go ahead and get our introductions going. First, the man to my bottom, I guess my bottom right here on the screen, the man, myth, and absolute legend himself, the co-founder of the Legacy Maker Sports Network, co-host of the Legacy Maker Sports Podcast. This is Jeremiah Quimby. How you doing, sir?
I'm well.
Good. It's good to hear. And then to my right, I guess you could say, with something like that, he is our resident stat man. He does it all, graphics. He knows everything. All right, we won the 1927 World Series.
Pretty sure the New York Yankees. That was an easy one.
I know. I wanted to give you a light one because I knew you knew it. Our resident stat man, Russ Taliaferro. How you doing, Russ?
Well, I'm doing all right, fellas. Hopefully everyone else is doing the same.
Awesome. And now, let's go ahead and introduce our guys here. It's been a while since we had one. Glad to have them back. First, we got the host of the 3-Putt Golf Show here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. Also, Vic Sports Talk, Mr. Victor Herrera. Victor, how you doing today, brother?
Oh, pretty good. And a lot of big things happen today and tomorrow in the sports world. So, got entertainment all the way around.
Yes, we got all the good stuff coming around. And of course, last but not least, it's been a while, but he is back. And guess what comes back? Guess what comes back next week on Thursday, June the 23rd? That's right, Commonwealth Sports Talk. The 5th season goes down next week. Our man, Mr. Joe Dillard Jr. How you doing, Joe?
It's another day in paradise, man. Just happy to be back. Happy to have this platform with you guys. Let's rock and roll, man.
Hey, it's going to be a fun one today. We've got a couple of interesting topics to get into today, but we're going to knock them out like we always do. First, let's go ahead and get into the NBA Finals. The NBA Finals tomorrow night, Game 6 in Boston. The Warriors have an opportunity to put this thing away. Personally, I don't know if that's going to happen the way things have been going. I don't know if I can see that happening the way things have been going in this series. I feel Game 7, but we'll see. But I want to ask the fellas, what are your thoughts on this one? I'm going to start with Joe. Joe, what are your thoughts on this series, man?
This series is really actually one of the better series for the NBA Finals in recent years, as far as just seeing the opportunity of teams evolve with changes throughout game-to-game matchups. So I think that the Game 5 was ultimate game, obviously. Game 6 is where Boston is going to have to bring everything, including the fans, to prevail to just push a Game 7. Now, mind you, Steph Curry went 0 for 9, and he's going to come with blazing guns of fire. And if he could just have one guy come with him, it may change the outcome. But that might be a hard reach, especially in Boston with the fans on pins and needles, making sure they can avoid elimination.
All right. Next, let's go to Russ. What are your thoughts on this one, Russ? I mean, the series is looking kind of tight here. The Warriors have the advantage. Where do you see this thing leading to?
I still think I've said it from the beginning. I think this whole thing comes down to efficiency. Warriors are going to get their shots. The Celtics have to be efficient in their shots. And I really think, I don't know if anyone predicted that Andrew Wiggins right now would be, in my opinion, front runner for MVP just because of the way he's been able to somewhat contain Jason Tatum and still get his own shots and be more of a nuisance than anyone probably predicted. But I really think like there's a chance. I'm confident that Golden State's going to wrap that up tomorrow.
I hope so for my prediction purposes. Vic, who do you got on this one, brother? What are your thoughts heading into Game 6 tomorrow?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm hoping Joe's right, man. I'm hoping we get a Game 7. To kind of recap on what Joe said, I like this matchup. This is one of my favorite matchups in the NBA Finals in a long time. Having a veteran core in the Golden State Warriors that was drafted and having a young core in the Celtics, man, it's nothing but exciting. But Steph had a terrible night shooting. Don't see that happening again. It's going to come down to the crowd. And I know I'm reiterating what Joe said, but the crowd's going to be huge to force that Game 7. But it's one of them ones, anything can happen if we can get there.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the way this series has gone, you're vibing Game 7. I know I'm vibing Game 7. Like, I can feel it happening, but I don't know, man. I don't know what my man name is. That's the referee that's like 14-0. It's Scott Foster. Steve Foster. Steve Foster. Well, Mr. Foster, the Boston Celtics are undefeated when he is reffing. If he's reffing tomorrow night, which they won't know until tomorrow morning, we'll see how it goes. But they usually go on a rotation, and it's about his turn. Jay, what are your thoughts on this NBA Finals, man? It's getting a little bit close to the end here. Do you think it ends tomorrow?
The way it's going, yeah, because every game that you've seen with Golden State, it's been a different guy stepping up to do what's got to be done. And I not that I don't think Wiggins will, have a say in the MVP, but we haven't seen or heard much from Poole. I think Poole, along with Steph, goes off and just ends it tomorrow.
I like the way you think.
And it kills me because, I picked the Celtics to win it.
Well, I mean, look, this thing's not over yet, bro. I mean, look, the way Boston plays, it's like every other game, they just have like a blowout game or they just really come to play. I mean, 2 bad games in a row, it can be fixed, So I guess we'll see, fellas. I mean, we're this close to finding out our NBA champion.
I'll throw one thing in. Game 6 Clay was not mentioned. And so it's kind of, do you want to see Game 6 Clay? Then it's over in 6. If Game 6 Clay doesn't come out, then we'll see you in Game 7. And that can make it that simple as well, too, because he could end it if he gets on fire in Game 6.
Yeah, I mean, the way you saw him in the last game, you can kind of see Clay trying to get himself back. At one time he pushed Marcus Smart 100 yards. It was the craziest thing I ever seen. He slid from one part of the court and he went just flying the other way. And then Clay looked at him and said, "Okay, I got an open shot." And so it was tough to see Steph kind of take a step back in that game. But real quick, we'll go around the room. Steph Curry MVP no matter what, Russ?
I think so. I mean, it's almost at this point a popularity contest sometimes with MVP, but I think Steph Curry, I think with them winning tomorrow, he's going to need to be the one to help them win and make them win. So I think he kind of locks that up, but I don't think Andrew Wiggins goes too quietly into the night as far as that MVP race. I think he still puts in a good game himself tomorrow night.
What about you, Joe?
Foregone conclusion is Steph. It's to the point where if Wiggins does have a good game, you can kind of question it, but when you compare them two, you're going to automatically give it to Steph. Clay goes off Game 6, then it automatically pushes to Steph even more so. The most signature game of the series is Steph's 40-pointer in Boston. Like, you got to give it to him, even though a great team effort is required. I still think it's Steph.
What about you, Vic?
I say it's going to be Steph Curry, much like what Russ said, kind of a popularity. The only way I see Wiggins really, really making even an impact that maybe getting is if Steph has another terrible game and he leads the way. But it's still going to be tight where you can't really not think about that 40-point game.
And Jay?
It's Steph to lose. I mean, it's that simple. If he decides to, just brick everything, then possibly we see Wiggins or somebody else step up to get it. But I mean, again, popularity. It's what brings the views. It's what makes all the fans happy.
It makes them happy. I'll be honest with you. I think the only way, in my opinion, I still got Steph, but I feel like Wiggins has to have a career NBA night. He's got to drop like 65 or something. It's got.
I think if it goes, I will say if it goes to 7, I think that increases the chances for Wiggins to actually get a little bit more MVP votes. Just because if they go to 7, then Curry must have had an off night or something.
If it goes 7, don't sleep on Jason Tatum, because we got to stop seeing the Duke Jason Tatum, and we need to see the Mamba wannabe 24 wearing Jason Tatum, and that is capable of getting 2 games. So, we can keep throwing Wiggins. If we throw Wiggins, I got to throw Tatum in if it's possible for game 7 as well.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah, also look at Horford and Jaylen Brown have had good series as well. So we'll find out tomorrow. Now, who knows, by the next time we'll be on Legacy on Fire, we should have an NBA champion.
They got to shoot more than 48% too.
That's also true. Next, we're heading to the world of hockey. Big one. I'm a hype man right on this one, baby. Stanley Cup Finals starting tonight. I believe that is 8 o'clock. I could be wrong on that. If I'm wrong, it is what it is. Vic, am I wrong on that? 8 o'clock tonight?
No, you're correct.
Yes. Okay. So 8 o'clock tonight, we got Tampa Bay and we got the Avalanche. Tampa Bay looking for the three-peat, ladies and gentlemen. They are looking to do something that hasn't been done in a long time and become a three-peat champion. And then on top of that, you got this Colorado Avalanche team, young guns, trying to make a name for themselves. We'll find out how that goes tonight. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. Of course, Vic, I'm going to start with you, Vic. I got to start with you. Vic, you wrote the preview the other day. You got Tampa Bay in 6, man, but I need a little bit more. Tell me about your prediction here. Tampa Bay in 6.
It's quite simple. You have the best goalie in hockey for the Tampa Bay Lightning in Andrei Vasilevskiy. I mean, you just do. When you have him, you have Stamkos, you have this veteran core, and Braden Point is coming back. It was confirmed today he will play. When you have them who played around with each other for a couple years already, there's no doubt about it. And what makes it even an easier decision for me, to be honest, is Darcy Kemper's hurt. You take away that goalie out of the net for Colorado, you're not going to get the opportunity to do an 8-6 score like you did the Oilers against this Lightning team. Vasilevsky's not going to let that happen. And this core, veteran core for the Lightning, will disrupt this young Colorado Avalanche. I love the Avalanche. I would love to see them win. My heart says they're going to win because they want something different, regardless of what professional sports. But when you have somebody who's been down against the Leafs, the Rangers, and have fought their way back, you can't dismiss that.
No, you can't. You can't dismiss how hard this team has played and how well they've been, over the time frame. So we'll see. Next, we go to Russ. Russ, what are your thoughts on this one, man? How does this thing go?
I've never personally picked against Steven Stamkos, and I won't start now. I mean, it's much of the same what Victor said. You have the best goalie in the league versus a backup goalie because their starter's not there. Give them credit for, like you said, fighting all the way through the playoffs. I think I might have picked them against the Rangers myself, but they somehow pulled it off. But I think it stops here. I don't think it goes past maybe 5 or 6 games.
Man, I'm we'll see about that. We'll see about that. Next, we've got our man Joe. Joe, what are you thinking on this one, brother?
I'm a little biased because initially when the Final Four or the Frozen Four was left as a college reference they have, I really wanted Colorado and New York because those are my 2 teams that I root and follow. And so that was my thought. But the championship pedigree of the Lightning just proved me wrong in the finals or the conference finals where, they're savvy, their ability to keep you out of the neutral zone, the fact that they defend all of the neutral zone and make it easier for their goalie, who is a superb goalie, by the way. It just makes calling for a hard chance for Colorado to score. But in the world of me, with my brain thinking, a faster, a younger, a deeper, possibly more physical team They're just going to have to keep banging on the door and see how it goes. They're coming off of 9 days rest. So I hope that they're fresh and they're ready to just attack the Lightning time after time, as the Lightning has had to prove themselves to be a worthy champion with extra games. But, you know, only having 2 losses in the playoffs, Colorado is a formidable opponent.
All right. Jay, Stanley Cup Finals. All I'm gonna say is it feels good to not see the Red Wings in. I'm gonna go ahead now. You can go.
No, that's fine. I mean, you guys got one on the Red Wings a long time ago.
Long time ago.
But I'm going with the Lightning. I like the fact that, you know, since Tampa Bay Lightning's been getting in the Stanley Cup and winning, these guys have been, you know, doing good. So let's just keep the trend going. Lightning in 6, and, you know, looking and researching and watching this goalie, he reminds me of this guy that, you know, played for the Red Wings long time ago. What was his name, Darrell?
We're not going to say his name out loud. It's like Candyman. We're not going to do it.
Dominic Hasek.
Thank you.
Don't say it no more. Don't say it twice. Don't say it 2 more times. No.
I mean, nobody hears any Marty Brodeur. I'm just going to say that right now. I'm just going to put that out there.
There's a name for you, Marty Brodeur.
Darrell and I were reminiscing about all them times and all those players that came to, you know, what is basically like the, you know, Yankees of the NHL. I loved my Red Wings, even when they suck ass.
I'll be honest with you. To get the Red Wings back to where you hope the league, or you hope that Detroit can get back to where they were. It would be great to see that rivalry kind of resurface at some point. Now I just hate them, the Wild, and I can't stand Vegas a little bit. Like, I got a little problem with I got a little problem with Vegas. But besides that, but real quick, let's go through. There was a couple of the guys who made their predictions on the network. Of course, you got Vic there. He got his Lightning in 6. We also had Mike Bish, who had the Lightning in 7. Cody decided, hey, man, he's got the Avs in 6. Thank you, Cody. And then, of course, myself, I got the Avs in 7. That's just a man praying for the best. Just a man praying for the best. So we'll see how that goes there in the Stanley Cup Finals, which starts tonight. Next, now this one is going to be a fun one because, you know, here in the local area, here in Virginia, it's a little bit of a big deal. They're trying to figure out what the deal is with Terry McLaurin. You know, obviously Terry has not been at camp, you know, so far this off season, and, you know, he's in the middle of a contract, some contract talks. Today, Rivera said that he was not going. They're not going to trade Terry McLaurin, but I just want to know what your guys' thoughts on Terry McLaurin not being at camp and with these talks ongoing. So, Jay, I'm going to start with you on this one, brother. Like, what are your thoughts on this bad boy?
Well, knowing him the way I know him, he's getting a lot of input from his father, and he deserves to be paid. He's been very consistent. Their best offensive player since he's been drafted in the 3rd round. Some can say top 5, easily top 10 wide receiver in the league. He deserves to be paid. That's it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Give the man some money. Show that you're going to be loyal to him. He'll be there.
All right. I'm going to Joe next. You know, Joe is a Commanders fan, so Joe, I'm kind of intrigued to see, you know, what your thought process is on this, bro.
Bless his heart.
Yeah.
You know how they say it in the South.
Jay, you still have 2 chips, I believe, and we have 3. So you better be seeking your 3rd sometime soon before you bless my heart over here. We're good.
I will.
We're good, buddy. But
I mean, when was your most recent one? That's
all you talk. So Philly got right to talk to people who are multiple champions then, because they just won.
Who just won?
Thank you. Philly. Philly just won their first one. It was recent.
I hate
Should
Philly.
they talk trash to multiple champions?
I hate Philly.
Philly can't talk nothing to multiple champions. And by the way, Jay, welcome to the multiple champions club.
I appreciate that, but remember, we shut down the vet. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, McLaurin McLaurin has got to get paid. He needs to sit out. He's done 3 years, 3 different quarterbacks. We got this new guy in that obviously thinks he's the best thing since sliced bread. So McLaurin doesn't need too much time with him because this guy McLaurin can do it with a guy off the street or supposedly one of the top premier quarterbacks in his own mind. So regardless of who we put out there, I believe he's going to have another successful year, which means for him being a 3rd round pick, we need to offer that top dollar right now and get him in and allow him to come in with some money in his pocket.
Amen.
You know, when you look at this, the way the wide receiver class has been, or the wide receiver position has been paid in the offseason, you might be better off now grabbing and getting him locked in before that thing is starting to tick up just a little bit.
Christian Kirk, the whole thing up.
Yeah, thank you, Christian Kirk. It's probably why Devontae Adams is no longer, well, partially why Devontae Adams is no longer in Green Bay. Vic, what are your thoughts on this one, man? What's the deal, man? What do you think with McLaurin and this Commanders team heading in to camp?
Well, you know, I have no championships as a Lions fan, but I do.
Okay, brother. It's okay.
On my fantasy team year in and year out since he's been in the league, and he's doing the right thing. Get paid, and kind of the point that you were just talking about. You pay him now, you're going to get him for a deal, is what they would say a couple years down the line, next year even. You're going to be able to save some of that money. He's been tried and true for this team. He's always been that go-to guy, and he needs to get paid like it. It's simple as that. Kind of like what's going on with the golf world, people hating on that. Well, really can't hate on McLaurin. He's going after the money, and he deserves it. Needs to get paid.
Go get that dough. Russ, what are your thoughts on this, brother?
I think he's arguably the best receiver that's 25 or 26 and younger. He should get paid like a top receiver in the league for sure. 1,000-yard seasons, no matter who's at quarterback. Alex Smith, I keep forgetting his name. The kid off the street.
Taylor Heineke.
Taylor Heineke. Yeah, just the proof is in the pudding, and I love pudding, and I love Terry McLaurin.
That's a good one. I mean, look, when it comes down to it, you see all these other young guns in the league at receiver. You know, your Jamar Chases, he's got Joe Burrow. Even though Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins still can throw the football. That's who Jefferson has. You know, and McLaurin just hasn't had that guy. If McLaurin is getting, from someone, it could be amazing what we see from McLaurin. He's already been good with a non-stable quarterback situation, Joe.
You have to be mindful. We have a defensive coach. We have 5 defensive first-round picks. So as much as we do want to give him the bag, when we give him the bag, that means 1, if not 2 of those defensive first-rounders. So I get that we got to tread lightly with this situation because it means something when we sign it, and I think that's something that we should be prepared for, and I hope Riverboat's prepared for, but I could see both coming from that Washington perspective as well.
Oh, Riverboat Ron. I tell you what, man, it's this Commanders team is going to be interesting. Now, there's a player on the team. I was up at camp today, and there's one player that I'm excited to kind of see on the field, and that's Brian Robinson, running back out of Alabama. I'm gonna tell you what, if he's healthy, and Gibson is healthy, and McKissick is healthy, and then you got Jared Patterson running wise, and Ron Rivera loves to run the football. Commanders can make some noise. I'm not gonna go out there and say they win in the division. They can definitely make some noise in the East.
McKissick and Gibson can be slot receivers, and you can have a set with 3 running backs on the field. It is possible.
It could get dangerous. All right, next topic. We're going to go to who you choosing, ladies and gentlemen. This week's who you choosing. Last week we had people baffled. I mean, last week was a tough one for a lot of people. We had Reggie White. We had Reggie White and Aaron Donald this week, and I'm going to give Statman the love on this one because Statman threw this one at me, and I said, this is a good one. Who you choosing, Chris Paul or Gary Payton to be the man to run your team in their prime? Keyword, in their prime. Victor, I'm gonna go with you first, bro. Who would you choose to be your point guard in their prime?
I'll be completely honest. I've always liked Chris Paul. I still like Chris Paul. He would be somebody I would definitely want to build around. although he still hasn't gotten that ring and people expected it this year. I expected it this year. He's somebody that's going to make players better around him. He's going to push them beyond their measures and just make a team. So then, therefore, you already have a culture. So once he's gone, you just got to find somebody kind of plug in right in his spot that is just going to help carry that culture. But Chris Paul is my guy. I've always liked him. He's always been the one that I've always just felt is a true leader. And if I'm starting a team, I just want a leader.
All right. Jay, who you choosing, bro? Chris Paul or Gary Payton?
Now, see, this one was a bit difficult for me because the glove was one of the guys I absolutely loved watching play. He kind of made the mold for the position along with Stockton. They both played the same number of years so far. Yes, Peyton's got the chip, but I agree 1,000% with what Victor said. Not saying Peyton's not a leader, but Paul is the do-it-all type of person. The only thing he has against him is that the health. That's a big thing. It's crazy. You look at any of the numbers. The NBA first team, all team, they're so close. It's not even funny.
Joe, what are your thoughts on this one? Gary
Lots
Payton
of thoughts.
Chris Paul.
Lots of thoughts. Victor said he likes Chris Paul. I said I love Chris Paul. I absolutely love Chris Paul every day from Wake Forest coming forward. However, this was the past 22 years, whereas Gary Payton was mainly the 90s. And there were many, many guards that he had to scrap with. You mentioned Stockton. What about Rod Strickland, Jason Kidd, Terry Porter Martinez? So he faced a lot of guys that he still stood tall above. We're talking 95, 96 Defensive Player of the Year. He talked trash. He took the 95, 96 Sonics to the finals with a welted down Sean Kemp, who was essentially their second best player, maybe Detlef Schrempf at well, but that's carrying a team, and point guards don't do that. And so, as much as I love Chris Paul, Gary Payton showed up in the finals against Jordan. He has no second option. He gave Jordan a run, Defensive Player of the Year, and he guarded you for 94 feet, which is why he's called the glove.
All right, goes with Gary Payton. So 2-1, Chris Paul. Let's see where Russ goes in this one. Russ, who are you going with on this bad boy, Chris Paul or Gary Payton?
I feel like I had a little bit of an advantage because I knew what this one was, kind of, because I threw it out there myself. So I kind of already started research, but a lot of the guys already said things that I'm going to say. Gary Payton, 9-time All-NBA, 2-time first team. Chris Paul's 2 more, 11-time All-NBA. The only difference is he was a 4-time first team. They're both 9-time All-Defensive teams. Gary Payton was 9-time All-First team. Chris Paul was 7 on the first team, 2 on the second. Gary Payton has that 1 Defensive Player of the Year, has that 1 championship, although that championship was with Miami. So some people kind of forget that he was there.
Better performance in 95, 96.
Fair enough. Oh, yeah, no doubt. But still, that's a 0. He did not win. Gary Payton was only led the league in steals once. Chris Paul's done it 6 times. Gary Payton has never led the league in assists. Chris Paul has done it 5 times. Career averages, Gary Payton's got 16, 4, and 7. Chris Paul has 18, 5, and 10. Chris Paul's a better free throw shooter. He's a better three-point shooter. And he's from there, I think the edge to me, honest to God, is probably just going to be the efficiency. I can't say that enough. The efficiency in the shot making, as well as just the overall leadership, Chris Paul, it takes the edge for me.
The assist is not fair to even say because
not even close.
Because he played with
Stockton and Jason Kidd.
Exactly. Thank you.
Name the second best point guard during Chris Paul's era. Name the second best point guard. Leading a team. All these keywords we use. Leading a team, leadership, do it all. You don't have them like in the 90s. And so whatever Payton accomplished,
Isaiah Thomas
Stockton in the league.
In there too,
Yep.
Fair enough.
You got
fair enough.
The bad.
Hey, Russ, but those stats are great though. I love
Oh,
them.
absolutely.
That's what I do.
I love
I
them,
even got their playoff stats right now. If you want to read those off too.
That is funny as hell because you know what, Russ? I got them all wrote down too, so I was comparing notes.
Yeah, I'm even if you take away like the assist leadership, it's just the actual efficiency with the assists, just his career average assists. He averages that double. Gary Payton doesn't.
Gary Payton checked a shooting guard in the NBA Finals and strapped him up. And you don't
No
have
doubt.
point guards that can do that.
No doubt. He did.
Let alone
he
the
did do
guy
that.
he checked.
He did
So,
do
Joe,
that, but he also lost.
I'm not going to leave you hanging on this, Joe.
No, he guarded Jordan, and he was guarded by Pippen also in those.
I will say too,
tag team Gary Payton just because they realized we got to burn him out in order to get this chip.
Yep.
I will give him credit though for that Defensive Player of the Year because he finished over Scottie Pippen in second and Dikembe Mutombo in third. To beat those two guys out in the mid '90s for Defensive Player of the Year was a definite big accomplishment.
So I'm going with the glove. I don't have all the fancy stats. I just got to go with the heart, man. I look. The biggest thing that takes me away, and I love all the accomplishments by Chris Paul. Obviously, he is a regular season warrior. Won't take that away from him. But when it comes down to me, I need a guy that I feel like that is going to be there for me in the trenches. Chris Paul always gets hurt at the most inopportune time. It's not him. I mean, God bless him. His body just falls apart at the worst time. And last year, I will be honest with you, I rooted for that man, and I'm a huge Giannis fan, but I rooted for that man last year because I knew that he deserved the ring because of all the trash talk they have said over this man over the years. And then when they needed him the most, he couldn't get it done. It wasn't all on him, but you expect that from a guy like Chris Paul. And, obviously, yes, Peyton won his ring. I mean, Peyton won his ring with Miami Heat Nation. But it's just like for me, I need a guy who just gives it his all in the playoffs. And it's a tough one because I'm going playoff over the regular season. I'm gonna go with Gary Payton.
94.
Gary Payton has a better playoff record too.
That's true. And then on top of that, Gary Payton, up until this year, was the only guard to ever win the Defensive Player of the Year until Marcus Smart was able to pull it off this year. So. Congratulations, Marcus Smart. See if that defense can clamp down tomorrow. So there it is. Who you choosing? Winning this time around is Chris Paul 3-2, and who you choosing? All right, now we're gonna head, ladies and gentlemen, to the main flame, and we are getting ready for Father's Day this weekend. So for all the fathers in the group, happy Father's Day. For all the fathers out there, happy Father's Day. So we were sitting here thinking, and once again, I got to give love to Russ, because Russ threw this one, and I said, this is brilliant, my man. Best father-son duo in sports history. I'm going to be honest with you. I had thought, and I was thinking, I still don't have a real good answer. So I probably won't even answer on this one, but I'm going to let the fellas go down and give us their answer for this one. Best father-son sports duo in history. So let's see who wants to go first. Jay, who you got in this one, brother?
For this one, this is a shout out to the wife for what she does, what she covers, and what she's brought to the network. And for me, it's Lee and Richard Petty. You got the king. His dad won 3 championships before, NASCAR blew up. And then you got the man that won 200 races. He just really set the tone of what NASCAR was. And 43 is my favorite driver of all time. And then Bubba got in the car. Now I'm a Bubba Wallace fan. I don't care what anybody says about him. They can eat a big hard one. I love Bubba.
Now, Jay, I gotta ask: did the wife slide you this answer on the sneak?
Absolutely not, because you know what? My entire bedroom is full of Dale Jr. shit.
Yeah.
And my uncle was a diehard Senior fan, and yes, he raced a certain way. I'm not going to take anything away from him, but when it comes to NASCAR, those W's mean a lot. This
is also true. Also true. Russ, what are your thoughts on this one, brother? Best father-son duo in sports history.
I made a top 5. I won't go through the whole thing. It's just who I am.
No,
I can't do this thing with.
I think I want to hear the top 5. I want to hear the top 5.
Okay, fine. Number 5, I have a tie between Barry Bonds and Bobby Bonds and Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr. I couldn't split between those two. I personally, sometimes I know I go too much on the Barry Bonds hate. I will openly admit that. I just can't help it. And I love Ken Griffey Jr. He's my favorite player that never wore a Yankees jersey. Number 4, probably didn't expect this one to be on there, but I couldn't not put them there. It was a trio. It's Howie, Chris, and Jake Long. Chris won 2 Super Bowls. Howie won a Super Bowl himself and defensive MVP. And Jake Long was still a Pro Bowl offensive lineman, so you got to give him credit too. Number 3, I have Jay's pick, Lee, Richard. Also, I'm going to give credit to Kyle and Adam Petty. That whole family just knows how to win. I would say they're the first family in NASCAR with my limited NASCAR knowledge. Number 2, little bias. I put the Manning trio. I don't care what you say. Multiple Super Bowls, multiple MVPs, and not to mention Archie was one of the more loved quarterbacks in his time. And then number one actually wasn't that hard. I knew who number 1 was before I knew who the rest of the list was. Number 1 was Bobby and Brett Hull. Just it speaks for itself. I dare anyone else to come on top of that one.
Russ, oh my God, bringing the heat, brother. That was good. That was good. I Vic, who you got in this one, man? Who's the best father-son duo of all time?
I'm glad I had 2 because Bobby and Brett Hull was one of my options. You know, being a Stars fan, you gotta love the whole family, but gotta respect what they did for the game of hockey. But I'm going to go with the most current one, and I put them over one of the up-and-coming Tiger Woods and his son. But I'm going with John Daly and Little Daly. And I'm going with them simply because they've already done what a lot of father and sons wish that they could do, and that is win the PNC Father and Son Classic in the golf world. They went out there, they beat the Woods family and got that championship. And I mean, Little Daly's already going to play for Arkansas. You got a lot of good things happening in that family. John Daly is still competing. And I mean, let's face it, they're sponsored by Hooters now. They have it all.
the best job in the game.
No, the bad boys of the PGA is what they are.
Exactly right. Joe, who you got best father-son duo of all time?
So, of course, I have 2, and Russ Demoralizes one of mine. But you tell me on September 14th, 1990, when a father-son hits back-to-back home runs, that's never going to be done again. Like, what other sport did father-sons at least play together in a that's why I understand Vic's point, because that's a competitive, legit father-son competitive competition. This has got Ken Griffey coming up the bat, senior that is, home run, and junior comes up, young whippersnapper, home run that is, and that just sets the trend for Griffey having one of the best careers ever. Now, I know these other nominees are great, but there's one I want to mention by marriage: Wayne Gretzky and Dustin Johnson. Because
I like Joe. I like
Wayne Gretzky is all of hockey, and that's my guy. Just like my limited knowledge of hockey, like Russ said, it starts and ends with Wayne Gretzky. And I've learned the sport from pre-Wayne Gretzky era and post-Wayne Gretzky era, and that's how I learned hockey. However, Dustin Johnson just happened to take on everybody that was peaking at the right time. So I figured if he could rise to the cream of the crop in that situation, they could get an honorable mention from me. But the fact that you threw my Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr. to the bottom, I think it's unique that they like. That's why LeBron is trying so hard to keep his body right so that he can have 1 minute of basketball on the court with his son where he gives him an assist. And that's what he's gunning for, to be quite frank, you know. And I think that's what Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr. share, you know.
Favorite Griffey moment for me is when they're in the outfield and Junior calls his dad off a pop fly. I loved it, and I was just like, all right, you tell your old man that, but good luck, because you're going to get your ass whooped when you get home.
Oh, he didn't even call him off it. He just stole it.
He stole it.
It's crazy. It's like, I'm going to take this.
You know what, Joe? That Dustin Johnson, I like that because, you know, Dustin Johnson, he was suspended for getting popped with cocaine. suspended a whole year. And he really relied on Wayne Gretzky and his guidance to learn how to become a professional in the sports world. So, man, yeah, that's a good one.
And the success followed that, matter of fact, too, because he could have been swallowed in that up-and-coming group of guys where he did kind of have that, that downslide right there. But adversity makes a winner out of most.
If we're giving shout-outs to fathers and sons who played together, I feel like I should shout out Gordy and Mark Howe, because they did play together for at least a season or two. And Gordy, if you know anything about – Gordie Howe played forever. He was the Nolan Ryan of NHL.
He was like 85 and still playing, man.
Yeah. They played together.
Well, Griffey and the Griffies are my favorite, but I'm biased on that one. I'm a Mariners fan.
Well, that's why they were in the graphics, bro.
That would be correct.
We kind of got that.
Well, look, I guess you can see that my choices are in the graphics, so I'm not going to go too deep on on who I have, but I'm gonna mention one, and this actually is going to pain me to mention this, but it's not a father and son; it's a father and daughter. Talent-wise, they did a lot of good things, and that's I can't believe I'm gonna do this. Karl Malone and then his daughter Cheryl Ford. Cheryl won a WNBA championship, maybe won two WNBA championships. Her dad is a Hall of Famer. The guy's trash when it comes to tournament. He is the worst.
I agree.
In the world, and he's only getting. I'm only really mentioning him because of his daughter. It has nothing really to do with him. I just think his daughter deserves recognition, and his son, because his son also plays, I believe, offensive line for the Buffalo Bills. Two kids that he refuses to claim. He claimed the daughter, but that was after the media got after him, and he still hasn't really claimed his son. So, Karl Malone, on this Father's Day, you trash, son.
Sir, I would hope you put some respect on her name, because she's a 3-time champion and a 2-time all WNBA.
Street fitting, my fault. I knew
here's one that nobody will know.
Don't say
Joe might know. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, I was gonna go Rodman and his daughter. Dennis Rodman's daughter is an Olympic soccer or a USA soccer player who's killing it, and you can't underrate what Dennis did in between the 94 feet.
True that.
Remember when we were kids, Joe, and middle of like Saturday when there was no football or anything going on? Dick and Pete Weber.
Oh, I forgot about that. Old school out there getting it. Ayo, man. Pete Weber is a legend.
Let's go, baby.
There's a lot of names. There's a lot of names we could have put on here, because you probably could have put Dale and Dale Jr. just for their name and recognition that they brought to NASCAR. You probably could have put.
That's what I said. I'm gonna get beat because I didn't say them.
You probably could have put.
Started it, Russ. You brought out a top 5. We couldn't just mention one after that.
That's what I'm saying, man. You also, I'm gonna say it now because their dad is a New Jersey native, so I have to throw that out there. But Rick, Brent, and John Barry should be mentioned in there too.
Barry's, the Currys. Who's the football tackles that went for 15 years? I think, was it Fisher or Long?
Oh no, the Matthew family. That's Clay Matthews Jr., Clay Matthews, third, and then his uncle too. I forgot his name.
That's you, D.
Bruce
Green Bay with the Matthews.
Bruce. There we go.
Yeah, I do want to throw one more out there because he's killing it in baseball right now. Vlad Sr. and Vlad Jr. Let me not forget them and how great they are. So,
then let's go with the Bichettes.
The Bichettes,
Yep. I mean, Toronto's got all the kids.
And Biggio too. Craig and Kevon Biggio.
We could do Roger Clemens and Cody Clemens with the Tigers. He just made his debut a couple weeks back.
He got his first hit.
I'm mad at that manager because they said he knew he messed up by not letting Cody debut in New York. So I'm mad at the Tigers manager right now.
We trash, so I am too, man.
So y'all to set that man back 2 to 5 starts with that start in New York. Yeah, the way y'all have bombed him.
I mean, to be honest, the way we're hitting the ball right now, I probably wouldn't have won a debut against us.
It's all good. Somebody bound to get hurt, lose first round of the playoffs. I ain't worried about the Yankees.
I'm a Mets fan, and I'm still looking up at the Yankees like, will y'all stop?
What you said right there, Victor, is not even an insult. That's just facts. We're waiting for injuries to happen.
It gets to the point where it's like the Maple Leafs. They're in the playoffs, high seed. Who cares? They're going to
blow it.
Someone's going to get hurt.
What's this playoff thing you talk about? Because I don't think Seattle is been to the playoffs since I was a junior in high school. Like the playoffs? Nah, I don't know what that is, man.
They'll blow it once they get a lead.
The baseball gods gave you each row, so you can still hang on to that.
Yeah, but they gave us Felix too, and we wasted great talent. We wasted.
They made my team change their damn name.
I apologize.
Are you the
Fair
Guardians?
No, I'm an Indians fan. Fuck the Guardians.
Oh.
I mean,
Fire, 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 burn on. Fire, 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 burn on. Fire, 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 legacy on fire.
On that note, let's put out the fire. Hey, that thing is hilarious, bro. Russ, what were you saying, brother? What was you saying at the end of that?
I mean, it goes with their city name: guard this land, protect this land. So the Guardians is a nice name. I'm sorry you had to change it.
I'm Native American. I don't give a shit. It's nothing bad.
It just said it was a roller derby name beforehand. So
I mean, you could be the commies though.
I'd rather be the Spiders. That was the second one.
Like, I don't know what was going through with Dan Snyder's head. Like, yeah, I'm gonna call my team the commies.
He's hanging out.
It's phenomenal.
It was probably
all right. Let's
cocaine.
It's time to put out the fire. Jay, you go first, brother. Put out the fire, my man.
Put out the fire. We finally got a thing where they think that they've got gun control under. But my thing is you Facebook fact checkers. Anytime anything's with COVID, or even when my friend Rel says I'm gonna get my ass whooped, y'all say it's insensitive, but some dumbass puts up, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna kill these people. You don't say nothing and you let it happen. Get your heads out your ass. It's not a hat.
Facts. Can't speak no more truths other than that, my brother. Russ, put out the fire, my man.
I could say what the hell is going on with Deshaun Jackson, because it's like 1 or 2 new cases every week, because it went up 2 more cases since the last time we did a show. But that's easy.
Watson, not Jackson.
Sorry, Watson. I'm so annoyed by this. I can't remember his name. But what I will say is, and I hate keep doing it on something negative, but my favorite wrestler of all time got arrested for another DUI the other day. So I am absolutely heartbroken over that. But at that point, I want to try and spin this into a positive way to say, like, don't be stupid and don't be lazy. Get help, please. Just don't put yourself in stupid situations like that. Because at that point, like, with all the facts that are coming out like that, he's still able to rent cars. He's supposed to have a breathalyzer on his ignition, but yet he had found a car that didn't get one. He was, dropped off by his brother and his sister-in-law at the hotel where he was supposed to be sleeping and staying. Just don't put yourself in bad situations, people. Please take care of yourself and call an Uber when you need to.
Facts, man. I mean, it just seems like every couple months we hear something about Jeff Hardy, man. I just want to see the man do all right. Joe Dillard, put out the fire, brother.
Well, Dolan, I need this guy out of office because we have a prime opportunity to sign Donovan Mitchell with all the rumors of this New York kid coming back home, fixing up the area. And my fire issue is that when Pat left New York, I should have left New York too. Because I grew up a Lakers fan, and when Magic retired and Pat came to New York, I chose the Knicks and I stayed true to the end of the day. Pat left and went to Miami, and he has been kicking the Knicks in the you-know-what for the last 15 to 20 years because they wouldn't give him front office. And because we didn't give him front office, we give Phil Jackson front office, and he is now one of the best 3 coaches of all time and one of the worst 3 GMs of all time. Can we please get a home native, Donovan Mitchell, with a broken Utah situation to New York? Give him Julius, give him Mitchell, give him everybody but Barrett, Toppin, and Quickly. Let's go, New York. Like, God.
Let's do it right now.
That's a win for you guys if you give up anybody but Barrett.
I'm going to really blow a head gasket if Donovan Mitchell ends up in Miami. That's all I'm going to say.
What about Brooklyn? I'm just saying.
Brooklyn's
Brooklyn
already
doesn't
done
need
me wrong the last 2 years. I look, Brooklyn, they can have it because they got Kyrie. That makes me smile. When they got to deal with Kyrie, that makes me smile. But if you lose a chance to get twice to lose Donovan Mitchell. We took Frank Ntilikina with the 8th pick, and Donovan Mitchell was the 13th pick in the same draft from New York. Who picked him? Russ, that man? Phil.
Gotta love Phil Jackson.
Where's Frank Ntilikina at now?
I don't France.
Bro, I don't even have that stat.
He's the 3rd string guard in Dallas.
I really can say that my Cavaliers are actually doing decent by building, trusting the process.
They're doing real good. I love everything they're doing. Mobley,
they've taken their time, man. They rebuilt. I love what the Cavaliers have done.
Yep.
So they're gonna fuck it up.
Don't do that. They might do good.
Don't back and they're gonna draft his son.
Oh shit! No.
They bring LeBron back and draft his son.
The King will make one more return. Look, but I think I got more of a concern than you on that because LeBron talking about, man, I thought I'd have been great in Miami. Look, stop talking, LeBron. Please. Don't give Pat Riley no ideas. Don't give him no ideas. Anyway, Vic, go ahead and put out the fire, sir.
I'm going to put out the fire on this PGA Live. PGA, quit being crybabies, man. Like the way you structured your organization, it was good, but all things need to change. And Rory, Rahm, and Spieth, y'all want to have all this hatred towards these live players. You're going to thank them later whenever you start making more money. Carl Schwartzel won the first live tournament and won $4.7 million, more than what he had his whole career. So I don't want to hear about the PGA and Rory and all these guys giving these guys hate because all they are is chasing the bag. And that's what we all are at the end of the day, whether you work a regular 9 to 5 or whether you're a professional athlete. And PGA, you've allowed them to play other tournaments in the past just because you have a pissing contest with Greg Norman. You don't want to do it now. Well, it's going to go to the courts now. You want to suspend them. It's going to go to the courts. PGA is going to lose. Game of golf is going to grow, but it ain't going to be in the way that the PGA wants it to.
Yeah, I mean it's been very interesting with the new tour, like and then they've done a lot of things. I know they went to 3 rounds instead of 4, and I believe it might have been you, Vic, that said they don't really need the 4th round. I mean, you don't. I like 54 holes is plenty to tell who's going to be a champion. And it's kind of with baseball. Everybody wants to condense baseball because it's too boring. Well, if you make it a 3-day tournament versus a 4-day tournament, more people are going to be willing to go to these live tournaments knowing, okay, 3 days, you ain't got 4 days. Probably the cut's going to be a little weird if they even have one. But it simplifies it down to where these players aren't strenuous. I mean, if you hear about some of these players on the road, if they really are struggling, if they ain't above the 50 rank, then you're losing money and you got to continue living out of suitcases whenever.
Or a sponsorship. Yep.
They just got to make it easier on these guys if we want to maintain a league.
Hey, Vic, I want to co-sign with you there. PGA might have started golf because golf stood for gentlemen only, ladies forbidden. And so to be that ignorant to create a word that comes from that root and hasn't been changed, but we didn't change Redskin to Commander, but we still calling golf gentlemen only, ladies forbidden is how it was originated, then the PGA has a lot of stuff that they have outdated. And that's all that they're trying to prove with this live tournament. It's not to go sign with the blood money because everybody knows it's blood money. But at the end of the day, they're just trying to prove a point to PGA that, look, you can't stronghold people like Walmart and not have no competitor. You got to have open mind to be innovative or fall behind the curve. And so, it's just some things they've got to fix before they can be premier again and not have to worry about that tournament.
Isn't it a red flag that their 2 NFL teams are now owned by Walmart family?
Well, Walmart family is taking over the sports world.
It's 2.
They're taking over, man. Watch out.
They just bought Denver.
Yeah, pretty soon it's going to be, self touchdowns, not just self checkdown.
I got to tell you this, Jay and Joe. I got to tell y'all this real quick. Tiger Woods in his career only made $121 million. That's all he made.
Golf, right?
Dustin Johnson just signed for $125 million to go play 4 years.
I know.
Yeah,
I've seen.
and Phil's was a little higher, and so them two jobs that Phil and Dustin just signed just to appear. They don't even have to shoot top nothing. They just got an appearance.
Exactly. And I mean, that says everything that needs to be said, because I mean, Tiger destroyed his body redefining golf in the PGA image, and I feel bad for the man, because I mean, literally, he made golf watchable.
And Nike was his number one source of income.
And I just have to say this, because people just can't wrap their minds around it. Bryson DeChambeau just signed to go. A lot of talks are going after this U.S. Open. A lot of more players are going to go. And DeChambeau was straight up, I'm making a decision for my future family. That's how it is. That's how it is. I mean, your buddy working a 9 to 5, they go somewhere else to make more money. You ain't going to complain. You're going to be happy for them.
Happens every day in the work world.
Exactly.
You got to put up a shut up, man. And like
money
you said,
talks, man.
They're going to have to make the move, or the PJ is going to have to pay more money.
Not Jay, workforce conditions.
And you don't even have to. My thing, real quick, I'll end on this. PGA could cut their tournaments down some and pay more.
Yeah.
Because like I said, you cut the rounds down some, you cut the tournaments down some, you're going to have happier golfers who aren't struggling all year long, tired, away from their family, that are going to be out there.
Well, and like Joe said this, and I experienced this myself. A lot of people do not leave workplaces because they're not happy with what they're doing. They leave bosses that they don't like working for.
The environment becomes toxic. Absolutely.
Exactly. Yep.
Thanks. All right, everybody. That is it. That is episode 33 of Legacy on Fire. Great episode. Joe, Vic, Russ, Jay. Great episode, y'all. You brought the heat on this one. Hashtag debate to be great. Now, before we get out of here, of course, Vic, Darcy's playing tonight, baby. Let's go. Let's go.
Hey, I'm worried. I'm worried. They're going to be down in the net, and they're going to be pushing up against them. There's no question about it.
Go Lightning!
How physical
Colorado on 7
he is.
I'm hoping for the best. But before we get out of here, Russ, anything you want to say, brother?
No, not really. I'm hoping for the Warriors to close it out tomorrow, and just hoping for another good week and another good day. Who knows?
Awesome. Vic, anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Live golf is the future, and Pat Maroon gets his 4th consecutive ring. He won that first one with St. Louis. He's going to get his 4th consecutive ring, and then he's going to be in talks about one of the greatest to win championships.
I'm about to cry. Thanks, Vic. Joe, anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Female athletes matter. My young sophomore ran 56.8 and finished 3rd in the VHSL State Virginia's Class 6 championships. And I just want to let it be known that you can't tell me my adrenaline wasn't running for that young lady as she accomplished some goals that weekend. So female athletes matter.
Hashtag girl dads.
Hashtag girl dads all day. Look, hey, and of course, y'all, just be on the lookout. CST. That's right. Commonwealth Sports Talk returns next Thursday, 7 p.m. Tell them who you got on there, Joe.
First guest will be Carlos Poindexter, Hayfield State basketball champion this past year. He's a repeat guest, so we had him before he won, and we got him after he wins. So we'll see if that's the same guy, which I bet he is.
Jay, anything you want to say before we get out, brother?
No, just love your people. Keep them close. I love y'all. Yeah, Joe, missed you dearly. Just glad you're back, man. I know you had stuff to do. Darrell and I are getting into coaching ourselves, aren't we, Darrell?
Yeah, it's going to be more Jay than Darrell, but I'm definitely going to be in there in the mix.
Be more Jay than Darrell.
It's going to be more Jay than Darrell, but I'm going to be in the mix, though.
Just love your people, man. You never know when tomorrow might be the last day.
Amen to that. Amen to that. All right, everybody. That is it. Episode 33. We're going to take a break next week because we got Commonwealth Sports Talk coming back, and we got to get ready for the premiere. Legacy on Fire will be back the week after that to bring you more heat. Of course, we got the Legacy Maker Sports Podcast. Me and Jay bringing you 4 days. That's right, 4 days as we break down the NFL season, 8-week stretch heading into the NFL season.
And Warren Sapp, where the hell you at, you loser?
Yeah, I saw him today. I saw Warren Sapp today at Commanders Camp. I saw him at Commanders Camp.
Please don't get me cussing on here about Warren Sapp right now. I do not like that man.
It's all right. You understand you hate greatness.
Oh, it's great.
I understand he hates greatness, and that's why I hate him.
Shortest house I ever seen in public.
Make sure y'all check out 3 Putt Golf Show when you get an opportunity. Hit him up on YouTube and check out Victor. Make sure you go to Victor Sports Talk. Check him out on there as well. And then Russ, he just does a little bit of everything. I mean, Russ, you just the man, bro. Like, I mean, graphics. I mean, art.
Russ is like him though.
I'll take it.
All right, everybody. That is it. We love y'all, man. Y'all take good care of yourselves.
God bless.
Until next time.